where appraisals become legal and financing of financial events, financing tax, insurance, and transactions. Hello again. This is Forrest Owens. I'm an aviation lawyer, a private pilot, and an FAA licensed airframe and power plant mechanic. Now let's turn to the second layer of the analysis, where appraisals stop being abstract and become legal and financial events. The first setting is financing. A lender on a large turbine aircraft is not financing paint and leather, it is financing collateral. That means the lender cares about market value, residual risk, title integrity, engine value, maintenance program participation, damage history, and ease of resale after default. The reason recorded title documents matter under 49 U.S.C. Section 44107 and 44108 and Part 49 is simple. A lender wants to know not only what the aircraft is worth, but what interest it can actually realize against it. Here's something to remember for financing. The jet is collateral only if the value is real and the title is usable. In practice, that means a sophisticated aircraft appraisal for finance purposes should align with the deal structure. Is the aircraft being financed with engines on program? Are the engines off program but freshly overhauled? Is there a looming 96-month or equivalent inspection event? Are the records complete enough that a repossession sale would be marketable? Does the serial number specific collateral package match the maintenance and title picture? These are not secondary questions. These are questions about value. The second setting is the transaction itself. Buyers of large turbine aircraft often spend heavily on legal diligence, title review, and pre-buy inspections. But they sometimes underinvest in the value discipline that tie those findings together. An aircraft may pass a narrow technical inspection and still be overvalued. Or it may be mechanically acceptable but commercially impaired because of historic damage, unusual pedigree, missing records, aging connectivity, obsolete avionics, weak market demand for that configuration, or unattractive engine economics. This is where a strong appraisal becomes memorable and important. It tells the buyer not merely whether the aircraft can be bought, but whether it should be bought at the price referenced. The third setting is insurance. Insurance values can diverge from transactional fair market value. Owners sometimes set insured value by habit, by an old financing amount, or by an aspirational resale number. But if the insured value is not revisited as the market changes, or the aircraft accrues maintenance liabilities, the insured value may understate or overstate the real exposure. A disciplined appraisal helps owners and brokers avoid treating policy limits as casual estimates. The fourth setting is tax. This is where appraisal sloppiness becomes particularly dangerous. Federal tax law does not reward a merely plausible number. It requires compliance. Under current IRS rules, when a taxpayer claims a charitable contribution deduction over the applicable threshold, a qualified appraisal and the required substantiation must be in place. The IRS publication and regulation framework are explicit. The appraisal must be timely, prepared by a qualified appraiser, and aligned with the governing standards. A taxpayer who thinks an informal estimate or broker email is close enough is taking a serious risk. And tax is not limited to charitable donations. Aircraft valuation can also matter in property tax disputes, estate and gift planning, casualty loss analysis, and related party transactions. Each setting can involve a different standard, a different valuation date, and a different evidentiary burden. The fifth setting is litigation. Once a dispute arises, the appraisal becomes more than a decision aid. It becomes evidence. And evidence is unforgiving. Forrest asks questions that the marketplace sometimes overlooks. What was the effective date? What records were reviewed? Did the appraiser inspect the aircraft? What comps were used? Were those comps actually comparable? Did the expert account for engines, programs, inspections due, repair history, and configuration? Was the opinion linked to facts or only to experience and conclusion? And that's why I caution against relying on headline value and sources without context. Market guides, dealer opinions, and informal indications can be useful as screening tools, but on a large turbine aircraft, they do not replace an appraisal that states the intended use, scope of work, assumptions, limitations, and factual basis. There are also human factors that deserve attention. Owners fall in love with their own aircraft. They remember what they paid. They remember the interior refurbishment. They remember the avionics upgrade. They remember and felt the pride of ownership. The market remembers something else. What the next buyer must spend, what the next lender must risk, and what the records actually prove. This is why the best appraisal strategy is not defensive after a dispute. It is preventative before a dispute. For large turbine transactions, I generally want value discipline at 3 points. Before signing to set negotiating posture, after diligence to upgrade the number based on discoverable facts, and when appropriate, after closing or after major maintenance to preserve a defensible benchmark. In short, appraisals matter because they sit at the crossroads of financing, tax, insurance, transactions, and litigation. The larger and more complex the aircraft, the more expensive it becomes to confuse an estimate with an appraisal and an appraisal with a guarantee. Remember this and take this away. On a large turbine aircraft, the appraisal does not just describe value. It often determines negotiating leverage, documentation strategy, tax defensibility, and litigation survivability. Thank you for your interest in this topic. This information is provided for informational purposes only, and it should not be construed as legal advice. Please direct questions, which are always welcome, to admin@aviationlegalcounsel.com. We look forward to helping you navigate these issues and address your questions with precision.